to The Tailblazers, a podcast made up of best friends Jeff LeBlanc and Aaron Kynard. It mainly focuses on their favorite three things: outdoors, meat, and beer. O&B for short. Basically, two brothers attempting to entertain, educate, and inspire by narrating their adventures they have experienced. These adventures can range from a small hike, a fun brewery trip, or just a simple backyard barbecue. They will definitely try to keep everything viewer friendly, but both of them have been through life-altering events, so be wary. This is one reason why they are best friends and continue to dive into many obstacles called life. Their main goal is to have fun entertaining their listeners, and if inspiration hits them, that's always a plus. Please share this page and episodes because there is no telling what will happen next. Let's jump on the trail. I don't know, but I just want to say my voice is so sexy and that is ridiculous. I'm surprised I didn't get married at like 16. Hey, so I was getting a beer for this thing the other day. I was at Total Wine, which is a big wine and beer store. And this lady, of course I picked a koozie. For a present. And I, of course, it didn't ring up right. So the lady was like looking at it, and she's like, what is this? I didn't really know how to answer. I thought it was like a joke. I was like, it's a koozie, you know? She's like, oh, okay. And so she calls the manager over, and the manager comes over, and he helps her out. Everything's fine. And the next thing you know, she looks at him and she's like, what is a koozie? And the guy had to describe to this chick what a koozie is. And I never thought I was like, am I getting punked or something? But that was weird. Who does not know what a koozie is? But
when I moved to the South, I did not know that there was a name for that thing that covered up your drink and kept it cold and kept your hands warm.
So interesting. I had the conversation about that as well with a person from California, and she told me that they call it a coolie there. So she did not know what a koozie was, or when I said the word koozie, like she wouldn't have known what it was. She does now, but I guess my thing was it was actually in her hand. Like she said, she still didn't know what it was. That one surprised me there a little bit.
That's a good point. Also, I think coolie is like a racial epithet, like from way old, like turn of the 19th century for like Asian people. Dead serious.
Oh, no. Well, that sounds like California.
Yeah,
we learn something every day.
Aaron, you sound like an NPR like producer or host in that introduction. That was pretty good. There's a couple of moments that were pretty cute where you talked about getting into adventures, and I liked it.
Yeah, it's mostly the deep voice. I have like my voice a little bit deeper on the mic than it really is. I'm a little more squeaky in person.
Maybe, but in that moment, I felt like I would have trusted you to give me the best chili recipe in the world.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, I would have. I would have showed you how to eat it too. Yeah, I'm just very confident.
You're probably stealing it from your wife too.
My chili?
All right. Yeah.
Is that a euphemism?
Awkward, but yeah.
Yeah,
she likes going to chili cook-offs.
She does.
Never mind. Don't worry about it.
I feel like we're just waiting for a setup to a joke that never came.
He's like, I wrote this down for last season. I was waiting for this one. I'm gonna throw it in. This seems right.
Yeah.
Pause for laughter.
So, Jeff, you want to introduce our guest?
I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna get shamed again. Anyways, hey, welcome everybody. We're at season 2, episode 3, and we got Greg, the Larson, author, entrepreneur, the man with the bandana, the guy that everybody likes to be around. What's going on, brother?
It was very sweet. Thank you. What's going on? I'm just chilling with you guys, drinking a little bit of my secret special beverage. It says I'm sorry to pull the curtain back like this, but Aaron, it says we only have 10 minutes left.
Yeah, that was they changed that. I blame the Russians.
we gotta take an intermission every 10 minutes.
I'm gonna have to buy this thing. Yeah.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but I'm good. Can I get into my beverage review?
Yes, we can do the beverage review.
Hopefully it's still working. Well, not only that, but I've lost you guys. I can't even see you.
What kind of makeshift operation are you guys running? This is your second season, and this is the kind of BS that's happening.
Well, this is the first time they did this maneuver on us, man. This is
Oh,
this is a
sure.
pretty low blow.
Yeah, I'm sure
All
it
right,
is
we
the
better
first time.
wait. We got to drink a beer. All right, I'll go first because I'm nervous. I got rugged outlook. It's DDH honey. I don't even know what that is. Oat cream triple IPA. We got Citra. We got Galaxy, Cashmere, Vic Secret, and Idaho 7.
Wait, was one of the ingredients Galaxy?
Yep.
Cool.
I don't know, man. It honestly sounds like something you would find out you could get cancer off of, but anyway.
That sounds pretty good. And then I'm curious to hear what the Stardust tastes like.
What does space taste like? Yeah, I'm about to let you know. It's probably is what you think it is. It's a supernova in my mouth. Oh, that's weird.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
While you're pouring that, I got a whole milk, lactose-free whole milk from HEB, which is the major Texas grocery store down here. I live in Central Texas, and so I'm a huge HEB advocate.
It may be the best pour I've ever had on this show.
Looks good.
I would agree.
Yeah. What do you got,
I
Jeff?
would agree. I got Remember Boys, no pie for second place. It's from Ology Brewing Company. And they're out of Tallahassee, Florida. And it's a blueberry pie inspired Berliner style ale with natural flavors. Oh, we'll see.
Jeff, with that mustache, I feel like your porn name could be Blueberry Pie.
Awesome. Yeah, man. I could actually last weekend somebody told him he had a
Porn stash for
stash.
the first time since I've had a mustache since May.
Double cold brew. It's dark with a pronounced head and a long lingering finish.
What was that?
It's like a blue tint to it, purplish tint to it.
Oh yeah, I can even see it looks like cranberry juice. By the way, Aaron, do you have a soundboard?
Yeah, send you a picture.
You're like a radio shock jock and an NPR host. That's a pretty cool combo.
Yeah. I've that's my night gig. This is mixing stuff. So no,
that's pretty good, man. This got a lot of blueberry flavor to it for sure. I don't taste any of the pie crust or anything, but it tastes blueberry to me.
Every time I ever get a pie crust, it's burnt anyway, so probably best.
But not the stuff underneath the pie.
Mine is very rich, very flavorful, like stick to the back of your tongue. What I like about it is that it doesn't give me the gut bubbles of a regular milk, but it has all the rich, full flavor of a regular milk. So I'm like all about this. I'll drink legit a half gallon of this every day.
Nice.
Dang. I drink a half gallon of beer every day. I'm just joking. That's a joke.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know how you didn't, if you listened to our episode, that particular soundbite was me. Kick something. Me trying to read a description of a beer that was really like it kind of sounded sexual. So this was me attempting to do it.
Check out our double cold brew. It's dark with a pronounced head and a long lingering finish.
And he poured a big head on it too.
Yeah.
You guys are wild, dude. And I know I've seen episodes of the show. I've seen how you interact with your guests. I know that you do this gotcha journalism with them. You try and catch them off guard and you try to back them into a corner. I'm not falling for that shit today. Okay. So I got my guard up and I'm ready.
Okay. Well, there goes that. I had some really good ones. Listen, there's only so much you can do when Zoom cuts you out 20 minutes early.
We're done in 5 minutes. The timer is literally below the 5-minute mark at this point.
Oh my gosh. And I would have just bought it right then and upgraded, but my card's downstairs. Hell. It was the damnedest thing I've ever seen in my life. So anyway, me and Jeff went and saw you in Austin. What was it, last year?
Yep. Last year, September.
Yeah, well, we had an absolute blast down there. We thank you for letting us come, as well as chauffeuring us around. First of all, that was a great time. Interesting way of getting chauffeured around, but it was fun. I think we talked about it.
Yeah, well, that was back. I have a different car now, but that was back when I had my Dodge Caravan, which I took the back seats out, replaced it with a big sleeper. I customized it to be like a camper sleeper van. So just imagine me, Aaron's wife Kelly in the front seat, and then Aaron, Jeff, and our buddy Steven all in the back, like sardines, wearing the cowboy hats, like rolling around, cowboy boots, shit kickers, getting all in my bed. Just driving down these backcountry roads going to get barbecue. It was a good time.
Some of it wasn't backcountry. A couple of times we just pulled out in the city and we're just like, up.
That's true.
That was good. So we really did appreciate it. We loved you showing us around. The food was phenomenal. I could eat some more of the barbecue again. I could do that. Thanks for taking us out on the river and all that stuff. So we do very much appreciate that. But this show isn't about city life. It show's about a little bit of outdoors and some adventures and stuff like that. So, Greg, what's the craziest story you remember having with me in college? You got 3 minutes to figure it out too. Actually, you got 2 minutes and 50 seconds. I gotta have some time to get off.
I knew that this is what you guys did. You cut your guests off short. I think that, that time that Aaron and I grew up in northern Minnesota, and Aaron came up to visit my cabin in college, and he just had this, like, Aaron, you just sometimes get this thing in your head where you have something that you want to do, no matter how ridiculous it is. Okay, maybe it's something logical, like I'm not gonna die from cancer. Okay, that makes sense. Or maybe it's something that just, like, I don't know, maybe you like saw a TV show or something and you just get in your head, I want to raft across a lake. And you just obsess over it. And it's one of the most admirable qualities about you. And we got up there to my cabin and he just wanted to build our own raft and raft it across this lake. Mind you, the lake that my cabin is on isn't the biggest lake in the world, but it's also not the smallest lake. Yeah. It's a pretty medium-sized lake. It's a couple of miles wide. And we're just out in the woods, just with all these pine trees, chopping. We didn't even have a proper axe, I don't think. We just had a bunch of Labatt Blue, like all this crappy Canadian beer, a hatchet, some twine that my mom gave us to tie these logs, not even logs, just like large sticks together. And we built ourselves a raft that was, I don't know, maybe 8 feet wide. And pulled it out, rafted it across the lake, and the damnedest thing happened halfway across the lake. Aaron gets all these leeches up on his butt, and he asks me to pick them off for him.
Yeah, I didn't hesitate either, man. I wasn't even like, could you? I was just like, pants coming down, pick these things off me now.
I think I hesitated a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure. You definitely were the hesitation. I was not hesitating. I was sure this had to happen.
And we got back and we did it. Like that's the thing, is that we did it, and then we disassembled the boat, and lit it on fire after it had dried out.
Yeah, that was actually kind of an interesting piece as well. I very much enjoyed it.
That's the end of the episode. Less than a minute left. I tell this little story about us rafting across this lake, and that's it. Wipe our hands of it.
All right, guys, that was a great episode.
Unreal.
Give me a second. I'm getting ready to upgrade. I found a picture of my credit card.
Do we have to log off or what?
I don't know. I'm trying to do it from here.
He'll probably kick us off.
No, don't. You guys, listen.
I just say it'll probably kick us off.
I'll just do the pro. I can have 100 participants. I totally need that.
That's good. Like, we got to find 97 friends.
Wow. So what have you guys been doing for the last 5 minutes or 10 minutes as I've tried to navigate through the internet?
Drinking beer and playing with my chicken.
Oh, please explain.
I got a rubber chicken right there. Remember? See?
Does it make if you got all these like pseudo euphemisms that makes me think that they're kind of vaguely sexual, but then it turns out to be relatively innocuous, which I like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's how I roll.
Yeah, I like him too. I don't know if you can see this, but
I got a rubber chicken.
Nope. That's good. I'm glad I can show you.
I just want to make sure because people can't see it when they're listening on podcasts.
I literally hate technology. I think it's the worst fucking thing ever. Anyway, yeah.
You're just not good at it.
I'm not good
You
at
buy
it.
you buy technology and it dies on you the day after you buy it. That's your problem.
But it's not always all
Sometimes
me though, right?
I don't know.
Okay. I was hoping you'd be a little more
I
on
buy
my
the
side.
same. I buy the same product as you do. Mine lasts a heck of a lot longer than yours.
Right.
So yeah,
I believe that.
Okay, that's true. Here's the thing though, like this cell phone, I've dropped it in the salt water. And the only reason I found it was at night. I found it because it was lit up still. I picked it up out of the pluff in the water, like dug my hand in there and found it.
I was there. I was next to you.
Yeah, I'm telling Greg, because he was not there for this experience. And then a couple weeks ago when we went on the golf tournament, I ran over it with the golf cart.
So don't these anecdotes just validate what Jeff just said?
Hold on. So no, it doesn't. It actually proves my point of some BS happening, some suspicious stuff. Right? The speaker that he's referencing, we literally got at the same time. I took care of it. We were together all the time. It just kind of got a little weird. This cell phone has been through hell and back, and it's doing good. So there are some products that are tested by me and go through. They're good.
It's like the equal. You're going to put it through the equal amount of like crash test dummy work. It's just a matter of whether or not the actual product is going to, withstand the heat.
Yeah,
right.
One day we'll buy a cell phone at the same time, and then we'll see who's lasts longer.
So, Greg, I don't know if you know about this, but me and Jeff, we actually hiked the Appalachian Trail. That's not true. We didn't hike any of it together. We hiked the Foothills Trail, right? That's correct?
Mm-hmm.
It was so bad for me. I couldn't remember what trail we were on. Anyway, it was 0.3 miles. It was so long I couldn't remember either. We did it was great. We did it in one day, 13 hours. It was pretty brutal. That was one of our most challenging hikes I think we ever did, being in the outdoors. But I know for a fact, a little birdie and a few emails in my college career told me that you might have had a good experience in Australia. I know you did something there. Tell us a little bit about that. And I would say it's the Greg Larson walkabout.
Yeah, Jeff, do you know any of my experiences in Australia?
I know a little bit from what Aaron's told me, but you have never told me anything personally.
Oh man.
So I'm ready I'm all ears here.
Well, this is back. I was not, I would say I'm a more experienced outdoorsman now, but this was my first real serious outdoor hike. I was in the southern coast of Australia in Victoria, which is it's an odd place because it's warm enough to have jungles like rainforests, but it's also close enough to Antarctica to have penguins. Like, it's just a strange place. And I decided that I was going to do this 62-mile hike on the Great Ocean Walk, which is this beautiful, there's everything. There's desert, there's rainforest, there's mountains, there's beaches. And I still have the backpack. I brought a JanSport backpack. And so one thing about Australia is that Kmart's are still really popular there. So I went to a Kmart and I got some really cheap tent and a really cheap sleeping bag. And that was it. And I just tied them to this JanSport friggin' fourth grader's backpack. And in that backpack, I had some crackers. I had a couple of cookies. I had 3 cans of tuna, I think, and a couple of nuts. And
did you already have the couple of nuts, or did you have to buy more?
Dude, that one I appreciate, because I was just I didn't have enough food if I had just been sitting around all day, let alone hiking 10, 14 miles a day. And I didn't even bring water, dude. That was the most messed up.
I was about to ask, what'd you do about water?
I had a 1 liter bottle. And then at every campsite, dude, that was bad enough. But at every campsite, the only refilling stations were these rainwater collection stations. So my first night, I went, and there's all these signs that say do not drink, all these X's, all these dead pictures of dead guys laying down, don't drink the water. And here's me filling up my 1 liter bottle. The first night, I shit you not, it wasn't pure yellow, but it was definitely yellowish, and it had literally bugs inside of it.
Some sort of shit, right?
I don't know, man. It didn't make me sick. I took a couple of sips, I waited for a little bit, and I thought, all right, man, I'm just gonna chug this. I had no gut problems that I know of. And then fortunately the following days it rained every single night. So each campsite actually had fresh rainwater after that. So
Nice.
jokes on those losers. Even so, I would only fill up with 1 liter. So 1 liter a day is not nearly enough. The
It works for you. You're still alive.
It's true, but like you know how when you get dehydrated, your puzzle solving abilities deteriorate, your direction, your spatial awareness deteriorates. You can't like solve any problems.
Everything's fuzzy.
Dude, yeah, it felt like my brain was just like a cotton ball.
Yeah,
it came to
practice that I actually don't drink for a week and then I do Sudoku. So that way I'm better prepared for those situations.
Dude, if I had to, it was weird, man. I had the only entertainment I had was this one book, and then I read that in the first 2 nights, and then I don't know.
So you brought a book with you, but no water. Okay,
dude, for real. How Greg Larson is that, right?
Hey, that's how you get interesting stories.
I guess, dude. That's the thing about this whole thing is that like that was a time in my life where I lived my life by the phrase push your comfort zones, but I think there's a lot of overcompensating of me trying to put myself in dangerous scenarios and try to get out of it so I'd have some funny story. And there was this time, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 days in, it was like a 7-day trip that I spread it out to. I had run out of water. The night was closing in. I was in the jungle on the coast of South Australia, and there's remote beaches. I hadn't seen anybody all day. And I was looking at my map and I thought that I was like at this fork in the road that was right next to my campsite. But I took the fork to the left, and it went down, and it kept going down and down into this valley. And there was no sign. There's no sign, literal sign of a campground, and no physical. You can just tell that a trail has been well worn around a campsite. There's none of that. And I got to the point where I started hollering, where I was like, hello? No answer. I hiked back to the fork. I went to the right, which like climbed up to the top of this valley overlooking the ocean. And it was starting to get really dark. I didn't have any water. I was exhausted at this point. And I started screaming for help. And my voice echoed out into the ocean and just dissipated. No response. And I just thought, oh shit, dude, like I'm going to have to drink my excess tuna water just to survive the night. I mean, I wouldn't have literally died, but I was just to have some sort of like satiation. Finally, I go back to that fork in the road, and it turns out that in my dehydrated delirium, I had too soon. I was like, oh, this fork is like 2 kilometers before my actual campsite. I'm like way short of where I'm supposed to be. So I booked my ass, and dude, like I'm in the rainforest in Australia. I saw a fox eating a kangaroo. I saw wallabies. I saw snakes. I saw fire ants the size of damn peanuts, dude. I saw all the Australia stuff. I saw koalas out there. I did not want to get stuck out there in the middle of the night at all. So I'm like booking my ass to get to my campsite. And finally I get back and I just like plop down, fill up my water bottle, and I take a leak. And it's, one of those like caramel leaks where you haven't had enough water during the day. And I just started crying.
I'm going to die right now. Pissing out my own water. Here we go.
For real. I was like, this is going to be blood. I mean, at some point.
Well, I can relate to that.
It's almost the color of blood.
Yeah. And I just asked myself, like, why am I even doing this? What am I doing out here? And I think that the reason I was out there was because I wanted to prove to myself that I could.
You wanted to escape the 1 bedroom, 1 bath for 1 semester.
For real, yeah.
So describe like how these campsites are. They like, because you mentioned a bunch of these campsites. So like describe besides the rainwater runoff where you can collect everybody's water and use
fires, stuff like that as well. Yeah, is there places for a fire pit?
Shelter.
Do that shelter, like pretty done shelters.
So like in the first couple of campsites towards the trailhead, there were makeshift shelter. Like there'd be an open air shelter that would just be like 4 poles with a roof, and that would be, there might be a picnic table under there, and that was it. Everything is just like a packed dirt slab was each campsite, and there'd be a little post that said 4 on it, and it's like every campsite that I went to was number 4. You know, there might, I don't know, there might have been a half dozen slabs at each site, but it's very primitive. I mean, there's just that rainwater collection tank, and there would usually be an outhouse, but those are the only amenities. Yeah. And they were like permanent outhouses, so they really had that like true stink to them. They were like wood in the fucking ground.
So
yeah.
do you regret it? I mean, and looking back now, did you get enough out of it that like you're like, yeah, I'm glad I did it, or was it so stupid, like so risky that you're like, yeah, whatever I got out of it probably wasn't worth it. I'm lucky.
That's a hard one, dude, because I don't regret it at all. I wouldn't do it again the same way. I'd do it better. But the only reason I would do it better is because I went through that experience. Yeah. It's like, okay, do I need to break my arm in order to know that it hurts to break your arm? Not necessarily, but I think that, I don't know, man. At that time in my life, I had to like go through some sort of trials like that in order to be a better, in this case, outdoorsman.
Yeah. Well, so Jeff and I both kind of grew up in the outdoors a little bit, or had an interest in it for our life. Knowing obviously the intent to want to do something like that and saying to be a better outdoorsman. I mean, did you grow up with it in the outdoors a lot, or I mean, did you obviously know you're from Minnesota? But
yeah,
are we changing subjects? Because I wanted to ask a question about the Australia again.
Oh yeah, but I'll answer that. I didn't grow up in the outdoors the same way you guys might have. Like hunting was not a big part of my family. We camped a ton. We would go out to Montana, Wyoming. We'd camp all the time, do a lot of like car camping, the same way I kind of like to now. Camped a ton in the back. My backyard was on a lake, and I would go back there and I'd like harvest blueberries and blackberries before the deer and the woodchucks could get to it. And I'd shoot squirrels back there. I'd spend a lot of time out in the woods by myself. Honestly, just like digging around. Like there's this old post office back in the woods in my neighborhood that I just go like sit in the rubble of this post office and just like, I don't know, rummage around in the dirt, shoot gophers and stuff. So like, yes, but it was a very suburban sort of outdoorsmanship.
Gotcha. Jeff, what do you get about?
So when you mentioned about the trailhead, so the other end of the trail, because you said it was what 60 something miles. Was it the same or was it different?
The trailhead was in this coastal, it was this sleepy beach town it was like a resort town. And I was there in the off season. So everything was closed down. All the shops were closed. There's hardly anybody there. There's a little golf course there, a couple of players, but it was like a drizzly, overcast, out of season beach town. And then the end of the trail was this amazing, it's called the 12 Apostles. They're these limestone structures. They're kind of relatively famous that like jut off into the ocean, almost like chess pieces off into the ocean. And it's a big like national monument there. So it's almost like going from the sleepy beach town at the trailhead. And then the end of the trail is this tourist destination where there's a bunch of like buses full of a bunch of tourists with big old cameras and stuff. And here I am like trudging my way up there, like out of breath, go to the gift shop and I get a Snickers bar. Dude, when I got home, I got a Meat Lover's pizza and a beer. Man, that shit tasted so good.
Were you going up to the tourists and being like, water, give me some water?
It's funny, dude, because that's what inspired me to even go on that trip in the first place, is because my university, we took a trip to the 12 Apostles separately at the beginning of the year. And I saw a guy who was like sitting there just looking tired, eating crackers with this like 1,000-yard stare. I was like, hey man, where are you coming from? And he told me all about the Great Ocean Walk, and he told me about it. And then fast forward like 3 months, and then I was that guy.
It's nice, man. So did people always walk the same direction that you were walking, or they do it vice versa? Kind of like Appalachian Trail or whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Appalachian Trail, where there'd be some day hikers who you might see very obviously just doing a couple miles here and there. But for the most part, there was one group that I would see at the campsite each night that was on the same path as me, and they were going the same direction. So like, there weren't a lot of people out there.
Gotcha.
Would you consider the Appalachian Trail now?
The whole thing?
Or I mean, well, I mean, it might be hard for you. I mean, it's hard as an adult, a little bit harder as an adult, but yeah, I mean, would you consider it or hiking? Section hiking.
Oh, for sure, section hiking for sure. Like that. I really love being out there. I really love it. And the more our world has turned into like this weird place that I don't know what's going on anymore, the more I think about being in Appalachia and being around the people who are like, stay the fuck off my property. I have my gun. I will shoot you if you come onto it. I'm like, you know what? I think there's a lot more of that in me than I realized.
I find that funny now because I feel like that was me, and you kind of probably like in college. Yeah. I feel like that's clearly me, and then especially even what the heck's going on. Like, I guess we were talking earlier about conspiracy theories, and you were like, "Oh, I need to find something." I mean, have you like kind of submitted to the fact that aliens probably did happen, and the whole thing with pyramids, and they were using them to mine gold? I mean, is that a possible? Is that now a reality to you? I mean, like, have you come to my side about that, or are we? We still got some time to ponder on that.
Or do we need to let him come back for our alien episode?
Yeah. You guys have an alien episode? You guys have like
we haven't had it yet, but we're gonna plan
an alien episode.
We're gonna plan it.
Me and aliens. I mean,
yeah, I'd be a panelist on that. Look, like as far as those kinds of conspiracies go, my conspiracies are usually more terrestrial. Like all of the people in government are lizards, kind of stuff.
Yeah, I
lizard
like that.
Man.
Yeah,
lizard man. Gotcha.
Lizard people. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. It's watching. It's kind of interesting watching. Almost definitely not grow up, obviously, but just watching you develop to the outdoors. It's something that a lot of people, even when I go to work today, a lot of people don't realize that I'm in the outdoors as much as I really am or experience it. Yeah. I don't talk about it. And it's interesting watching from a perspective as an adult and getting into it and recognizing how wonderful it can really be, how much different, like how much more vocal you are about it sometimes than I grew up in it. I think that's just in a way not that we don't take it as serious or it's a disadvantage, but it's just that sometimes we don't realize how lucky we were to grow up in it at all, as much as we did. And interesting. But
I owe a lot of that really to the fact that my mom, when I was a kid, she'd just like load us up every summer and take us out to Yellowstone or Grand Teton National Park and just be like, we're going out there. And we'd go out there for weeks or months at a time. And I'll never forget when we went to the national parks, there's this one time I was in Yellowstone and we were hiking along some random wooded trail and I saw this really pretty flower. I wanted to go pick the flower and my mom stopped me. And I was like, well, why can't I pick it? There's a million flowers out here. And she said that I had to leave everything the way I found it so that the next person could enjoy it. And that stuck with me forever. And still when I go to it, in a national park in particular, I'll go and try and leave it better than the way I found it.
Yeah, that's
a good point.
I mean, that's a really good point. And speaking of, obviously, Yellowstone, I got to go there with you. One of the things that I really enjoyed about when I went there was the fact that it was snowing. One of the things I've always wanted to do, obviously being here in the South, all my camping or any kind of outdoors has been clearly not in the snow. It's been in, just rainy, hot conditions. But you ever done any kind of hiking in the snow or camping in the snow? And what are the challenges of that from Australia, obviously, because you're in a rainforest. So if you have done those challenges.
Well, in Montana, especially, I mean, I'd go out there and go on hikes. I guess you could call them hikes, but a couple miles here and there in the snow all the time, just because that was the best way for me to get exercise when I lived out there a couple years ago. But the biggest challenging snow or ice hiking I ever did was in Grand Teton. It's like Grand Teton, just south of Yellowstone, is in the northern part of Wyoming. It's beautiful, dude. It's my favorite. It's probably the most beautiful place I've ever been to in the world. There's this huge mountain glacier lake called Jackson Lake that is always cold. Even if it's really warm, it's still cold. And since I was a little kid, I love jumping in that lake. My mom used to tell stories of me, because up there, sometimes it'll snow in the middle of the summer. And my mom would tell stories of me jumping in that lake and the steam would come off of me because it's like my body was so hot and that water was so cold. But there's these like beautiful jagged mountain peaks up there. And I think it's summer 2017 when there's that eclipse. The corona of an eclipse came right over that area of Teton. And I like got a campsite, had a day to kill. So I went and did this hike called Paintbrush Canyon, where I actually climbed over the Teton range and came back in one day. Had to wake up at like 4 a.m. But that was wild. I'm walking up. So just imagine me, I'm walking through the forest, 4 a.m. There's nobody else on the trail that I can see. And it's quiet. And I got my bear spray because that's like total grizzly bear country in the middle of the summer, grizzly bear season. So as I'm walking in the forest, I have the cliffside is off to my right. And there's like this rubble, the like broken rocks. I don't remember what it's called, but I'm keeping my eyes to the high ground, just kind of like fluttering my eyes up every once in a while. And then I get into this open clearing, my eyes go up to the high ground, and then my eyes come down and there's a fucking bull moose staring me in the face. No exaggeration, like 10, 15 feet away from me. If I hadn't seen him, I would have literally walked into him. He's right on the trail. And I'm just standing, he's just looking at me. The moose, like, you want to talk about an alien? Like, a moose looks like an alien. It does not look of this world when you see it in person. It's this huge body and these like stilted legs and these like wide antlers. They're crazy looking creatures. And he just looks at me, just chewing his cud, not thinking a thing of it. And I see there's like 5 or 6 of them along this creek. And then I see a little farther up, there's like 5 or 6 more. Never seen so many moose in my entire life, like these beautiful brown shimmering coats. And I continued climbing. It was a long day. I mean, it was like, I don't know, 15, 16 hours. And by the time I got up into the actual mountains, there was a section where I had to climb on this ice shelf. That was, it was pretty dicey situation. I had my boots, but I didn't have like a pickaxe. They suggested you have, I guess I haven't learned my lesson. They suggested in the ranger's office that you bring your ice gear, like the pickaxe kind of stuff, and like the
cleats,
prongs that you put on your whatever. Yeah, I didn't have any of that. I was just out there climbing. Probably not a good choice, but I survived.
So I guess if you learned a lesson, don't hike with Greg.
I know, dude.
Or come prepared. One of the two.
Yeah, or be the guy that remembers everything.
Yeah.
Listen, checks it twice, kind of material. Yeah.
Dude, I mean, simply just listen to the park rangers.
Yeah, well, yeah, right. Listen to authority. Whoa, what is that? That looks like fancy water.
Yeah, it's a big old jug. Dude, I think...
You sure that's not vodka?
Oh, man. Yeah. Okay. National Forest Rangers are the only federal employees that I respect. They're the only federal officers that I have any respect for.
Hot take. They're pretty cool. They get to experience a lot of cool stuff too. Actually, that's actually a really cool gig. They got phenomenal benefits as well, and yeah, a lot. It's hard to get into actually sometimes to get those parks, even the ones over here in like South Carolina with Smokies and everything. But I gotta go back to Montana. We gotta come back. I want to put that on the record.
Oh shit! I didn't tell you, dude. We put the house up for sale.
Okay, I guess I won't go there.
Yeah, dude, how crazy is that?
Oh, wow.
The market went so insane that my dad just thought, he's like, look, we go out there once a year, twice a year. We'd be stupid not to sell it with the way this market is going. And we can just use the proceeds to go visit up there instead of having our own place. Thought, all right, man, I can't argue with that.
Dang, yeah. Well, I'd like to go back one more time, so.
Hell yeah, dude. There's no... we don't have to have that place up there, the mountain house up there for us to visit.
Well, you got enough familiarity with it now. I think we can hook us up in a good spot. But
yeah,
that's on my to-do list. I said I'd go to Austin before my baby was born. I did it. So another good one is I'm going to Montana again
in the summer.
I'm gonna have to probably bring my crew with me. So, but Jeff and Steven's got to come. I think you enjoy it. I want to go back.
I'm invited.
I want to go back
in the winter again.
I loved it. The hiking was, I don't get to hike like that. And I hear the summer's great, but the hiking in the winter was just, this is the most magical thing, man. It's just like, any minute now, I'm gonna see Santa Claus. And
Yeah.
I mean, I remember walking. We went to go see the frozen waterfall, and I had my little water bottle in my hand. I carried it. Time I got back to the van, it was frozen in my hand, and it was weird because clearly it's under 32 degrees. But yeah, I didn't feel that. I mean, I was almost in a light shirt. Short sleeves. You could have hiked it fine, and just loved it. It was really cool. I'd love to see it again in snow for sure. 100%.
Yeah, that is, especially that little village where there's all these bubble lights in the village, and there are all these little signs, and there's all the garland. It just seems so, it's just a beautiful Christmassy mountain village.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it did feel kind of, I also went in December, so I think right after December, I think it was.
Yeah.
So that I guess I probably did feel very Christmassy then as well.
But tell me this, both you guys, the best disc golf course, or the coolest, most unique disc golf course I've ever played is there. And it's this, just imagine you're playing up and down mountains. It's insane. It's really easy to just overshoot it and your disc is just way gone. You can't play that in the winter.
Oh, true. That's true. And I think you've been playing more disc golf than us lately. I've been seeing some disc golf photos. You've been playing. You getting pretty good?
Have you found a sport you're not good at yet?
Yeah, right. You found a sport.
No, dude. One of my biggest curses, God, I curse the sky for this, is that I'm good at every sport I try.
Yeah.
Have you tried curling yet?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
No, I bet I'd be good at. It's my native land, though. I'd probably be naturally good at it.
You never know.
I got to try it though. The only sport that I can think of that I would probably not be great at would be soccer. No, but I'm decent at soccer. I'm really good at fucking stuff up.
Do you fuck things up in soccer?
Relationships.
Yeah.
But is that a sport?
Here's the thing. I'm a really good defenseman in soccer, and a defenseman just causes
Stays
chaos,
there.
dude. You can't predict what a good defenseman just causes chaos. You're like, I fuck shit up out there. The same way I do the same thing in hockey. I'm not a good scorer.
Wait, hold on. Are you actually being serious? You think there's no sport that you're not good at?
I believe that's what he said. He put it on his Instagram and all that stuff.
Gotcha.
He's living through it.
Name me one, dude.
I said curling. I said, I mean, why not?
Curling.
Let's see. I want to see.
Gotta try it.
I know you're not bad at golf.
So.
You're not too bad at golf. Okay, hold on. Are you trying?
What about badminton?
Are you trying to say that?
I'm good at.
Obviously, there's better people than you. Clearly, right?
Yes.
Professionals.
Yes.
So you're not competing. You're saying I'm the best, but you're just saying that you're an athlete in the sport that anything you try.
Or you can beat the average Joe.
You're the average. You're above average in most sports.
Yes, I'm above average in every single athletic endeavor.
Gotcha.
All right.
What about the only one I got for you that I would have done that you would have done is karate?
Yeah,
well,
okay.
You have to learn that a little bit, but
yeah, well, I did Brazilian jiu-jitsu for like 2 months, and
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, you're looking at a white belt BJJ. Yeah, that's one I haven't tried yet. I haven't tried getting into it deep yet.
Yeah, that's the one thing I wish I could have done is like done that a little bit more. Well, that's good. I know that I didn't do a lot with you, but I did it with a little bit of a 7-iron and a par 3. But I've been getting into golf a lot with Jeff. Him and I like he's got me shooting like under 130 barely.
Okay, sounds like me.
That's a lot better than where we
You're
started.
better than that, dude. Don't even start with me, Greg. I know you're better than that.
Told you. Fucking told you.
Set you up. Well, that was your sport.
Set your ass up.
No, yeah, you set me up. I know you try to get me set up with that. But I love it, man. I love it. I don't know why. Can't hit the ball where I want it to go. It seems like it would frustrate me, but I just don't care enough, and I love every bit of it. And I'm really good at driving a golf cart, so that's also really good for playing golf because a lot of times you get to drive for 18 holes. I'm pretty phenomenal at it, actually. Pretty much staying the lines. So that's
You're really great at the laser find, the rangefinder. You're really great at that.
Jeff just is like, measure this.
Okay. And like, hey, Aaron, shoot it.
I'm one of those
He
guys
shoots
that
it,
ever
he's
like,
there we
yeah,
go.
I'm one of those guys to go out there and have like the best of everything, but can't fucking do anything with it. Yeah, that's what I have.
And Jeff, you got to be a grip it and rip it style, right? You just go up and you're like, all right, man.
Oh
let's do
yeah,
it.
yeah. He
Well,
doesn't.
I do finesse some shots,
Yeah, he does, but
I do.
Well,
but
I'm not
no,
saying you don't
yeah.
finesse it. I'm just saying that you eyeball it. You're like, okay, I bet there's 135 yards, pitching much. You just walk up, boom, finesse or not. I just think you're just like no nonsense, get to it. Aaron, I think he's like fixing his gloves. He's looking in the binoculars.
Actually,
he's calling,
not.
No.
Now I'll put my glove on more than he does.
yeah, I just didn't.
But my hands get sweaty, so I got to have that extra grip. So
Oh yeah.
Most of the time, I just hit it and I'm just like, fuck.
yeah, it's like, oh, I got to hit it again. I went 2 feet.
Yeah. I have a hard time getting past the ladies' teeth. Let's be real. It happens, man. I mean, you can't improve if you don't.
You have improved. You shot your best 2 scores in the past ever. PR personal records.
What were they?
126, I think it was. Somewhere
around there. And then you shot better than that the next day.
Yeah, so that tournament we had, amazing, dude. It was just phenomenal.
It was amazing.
Yeah, we had a really good time with it. Totally want to go back next year. It was like a veteran tournament, 3-day tournament golf. I played 4 days of row and golf. I was just
wow.
I didn't think my back could do it, and and I was just like, yep. I wasn't even that sore, man. I was having so much fun. We got up at like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and it's just
go eat breakfast at a diner.
And we played in Myrtle Beach.
Go to the clubhouse, hang out for a little bit, get your tea time.
It was
that sounds pretty nice.
It was pretty good. But anyway,
it was good stuff.
So I think we sit here gotta take an admission.
We're gonna take a second break. This week's episode of Tailblazers is brought to you by our very own Greg Larson's second memoir, Clubby. Guess what? That's me. I'm Greg Larson, and Clubby is a hilarious and illuminating story about a starry-eyed baseball fan who accidentally became part of the minor league system that exploited his heroes. Just go to clubbybook.com, that's CLUBBIE book.com to read it today.
All right. Check out the Clubby. It's a really good book. It's actually one of the few I ever read. I got a handful of 4, and 2 of them have been his. So I think it's a really good book. If you like a little bit about baseball, you should check it out. And we'll be back here after the intermission.
I gotta tell you, I'm impressed with you guys' production.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the After Dark Hours. Oh, that was a weird voice. Just right. What are you doing with your belt?
I'm not wearing one.
Oh.
Neither am I. Oh. So, Greg, I've known you for a little while. I think that Jeff has known you for a little while.
Just a little while.
What, y'all were in the same pledge class again? What time?
Almost 15 years.
That's all.
2008.
Wow.
Fall.
That's hard to believe. But one thing that I think I can notice, and I think Jeff probably will say the same, the bandana is new. You almost look like you're into a new style of life. You got any? And what's going on there? You got a new style? You got a new flow going on? You got something to tell us about?
You're good at this, dude. Yeah, the bandana started. It started initially from me going into these yoga classes. I started yoga on Labor Day of last year, and I do these hot yoga classes.
Is it strange that you know the date that you started?
I guess that is a little unusual, but I know it because it was like such a pivotal moment in my life so far. And
I like it. Good answer.
Yeah. And I do these hot yoga classes where it's like 95, 100 degrees. So I'm just like sweating my ass off.
Yeah, I'd probably know that too.
Yeah. It sounds way sexier when you say it. And then when you realize you're just hot, not as enticing.
Yes. And so like I just drip and sweat, and it like would get in my eyes and be all stinging. So like we'll start wearing a bandana to soak up the sweat. But I just kind of like the way it feels and the way it looks. So I wear them sometimes outside of class too, but mostly in the yoga studio. But yeah, I've been like deep in it. I go every day. Sometimes I go multiple. Like Sunday, I did 3 yoga flows. I did yoga for like 3 hours that day, and then I teach on Saturdays. And I just finished my teacher training. Like it's a big part of my life
Teach
now.
now.
Most of my, yeah, you didn't know that. I did a 6-month teacher training that ended like 2 weeks ago.
When we were in
Did they have
Texas, he
beat
tried to
flows?
teach you.
Yeah, I impressed him, I thought.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
We were at the
We're at
Barton Springs.
Oh, yes, I do. Yeah, I taught you a figure 4. I remember that.
You said I had good balance.
You did. I was really impressed.
Yeah.
Just
You
to keep
got
me
it.
from flipping over kayaks, then we got good balance.
Yeah, he does like to flip over a kayak.
That's like a running thing.
Just for him.
Yeah.
It's mostly getting in the waters. Well, no, that's not true either.
Well,
but-
the one time I flipped in the water, but most of the time I flip the kayak is when I'm trying to get in it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I gotta get too much of a caboose.
He gets his weight going. He just can't damn stop.
Jeff, you got that wagon on you, boy. Take a bite out of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I
Congratulations. So you gonna make a studio, or are you just doing
Please-
it for fun, for your own thing?
Please tell me you come out with straight to DVD yoga videos that I can get.
That'd be pretty good, dude.
Might as
I'd wear this
well.
exact outfit.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to start my own studio, but there's a studio that I go to. It's called Black Swan Yoga that I'm like super. It's who I did my training with. It's who I go to every day. I'm going to audition with them in July.
There's a girl in
Cool.
college you probably know that is doing that now. Well, I don't know if she's doing it now, but she did do it for a while. Yeah, but I think you need to make a
Right.
video. Because I'm realizing, like, as I look in my house, I have, interesting enough, we talked about the raft that I did, and it was called Kiss My Bass.
Yeah.
And I actually have that flag. It's literally right here over the computer.
The flag when we rafted across that river, that lake in
Yeah,
Minnesota.
it's still hanging up. I got your book, and I still have the original copy of your first book, your college story.
You have the only copy of that original copy. That's the only one that exists.
I mean,
in the entire
not
world.
even staple, because you can't staple it. Yeah, but the book's right there. Jessica next to him.
Oh, you have both got. That's cool.
Yeah.
Aaron, what you're referring to is in a 3-ring binder, probably, right?
No, dude, it's a freaking. It's just a folder with paper after paper after paper after paper.
It's not even bound. Yeah, you definitely have the only version. I probably don't even have a digital file of that one anymore.
Yeah, I keep it.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, that was good stuff. I had a lot of fun in college, man. I enjoyed. Said it for the audience, because and just for my own personal benefit, I think we should note that we were in a 1-bedroom, 1-bath together for a while, and that's it seems like a tidbit. I guess it was a tidbit awkward. It's weird to share the same living room, kitchen together.
I mean, yeah, especially
But it wasn't bad.
What made us friends is that experience. We didn't really know each other moving in. I was just a guy. We're in the same fraternity, but we didn't know each other. You knew I needed a place to stay, and you knew that you had a girlfriend who wasn't going to help you out with rent. So it was like, all right.
I don't know. They just didn't die. We went out. And there was more to it than helping out with rent. It was just like, I'm never going to see you again, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put nicely.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. It's funny. I think it's in those circumstances. I don't think we suffered by any means. I don't think it was miserable, but it is weird. I can say for Jeff and I, like, him and I were obviously very close too, but when we did our hike together, and that was probably probably the worst that Jeff's probably ever seen me in. I mean, just as far as pain and crap that happened.
Yeah, physically, for sure.
And it's just that experience of having to help each other and go through things. And I think you were in a different part of your life, has a different part of my life as well. And,
He forgot his water as well.
yeah. And the first
Classic.
aid station, I went to the bathroom. I can relate to your story. On that first aid station, I went to the bathroom by myself, obviously. And I just pissed, and it was like, basically looked like blood. And I was like, I'm going to die. And I just walked out, grabbed my stuff, and kept going. And I was like, the whole time I was nervous. Like, I knew that wasn't good. And so, like, thank goodness Jeff had his water pack, and I just kept like drinking off him a little bit here and there. And But at the same time, there's like this mental the mental roadblock is like, I don't want to bug Jeff about getting his water. It feels, I just felt like I was a nussance and I was holding people back, and I was the weakest link. And
Bro, you
Did
can
you
suck off
were you
my
able to
kid
fill up
any
at any
day.
point?
we depending on what mile mark, we had 4 aid stations out of the whole thing, and so I think the closest
Especially
one was like
three
6.
during the hike. The last one's the 4th one in a way. There's
Yeah,
3 during the hike. So in between 2 and 3 is your longest run, which was like 12 miles in between each aid station.
all I had was like a Yeti, like a Yeti 32 ounce, maybe if that was 32 ounce. Yeah, it was, and I happened to buy it on the way there as well. And so yeah, I totally relate to it. And it was pretty miserable.
I had a 3-liter Camelback. So
I was just like, can I have some
Right.
water? And then he would just like pull it out like right here, and I just like drink out of it.
Just suckling on your teeth, Jeff.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
awful, man.
that's what brothers do.
Yeah, so I think it's I guess the point of that story is that I'm going through stuff like that, going through different parts of our life. I think that's what made you and I friends, is that particular moment. Because actually, all 3 of us used to hang out, playing in the pool together at the gym, doing some sports games or doing our little football, and none of us at that moment in time really had an interaction with each other.
It was an interesting 6 weeks or whatever that was.
Yeah,
where we hung out with each other all the time. It was like,
but none of us were hanging out with each other because we were it was the girls that were more or less hanging out with each other.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yep, we knew girls.
we did.
That's the moral of the story.
What's your best pickup line, Greg? What is the best pickup line you ever had in your life?
I'll tell you, it happened this weekend. So
BS.
So I on Saturday, my friend Liz, she invited me to go to this gay bar called the Coconut Club, which is like this prominent gay bar in 4th Street in Austin. And I was like, all right, man, I'll go out and I'll cut a rug a little bit. We go, and I'm wearing an Austin Public Library shirt, and I was feeling myself a lot. So 2 things happened. One, I walked up to a girl. I was like scanning the room. I was like, okay, most people are in groups. Let me see if there's a cute girl by herself. Boom, see one. She's like leaning up against this ledge. I go lean up next to her. I say, damn, girl, you make me want to pay my library fees on time. And she looks at my shirt and starts laughing. I was pretty proud of that one. And then also in that night.
So did it work?
I mean, she was literally standing like next to her boyfriend.
Did he?
She laughed.
All right.
I got a laugh out of her, and she was seems tickled. And I in that same night, just imagine, this is just like total random thing. To preface this, when I go to the yoga studio, I pretty much go to the same class every day, right? So there's a Monday teacher, a Tuesday teacher that I see pretty much every week. I'm at the Coconut Club, and I'm dancing, and I set my water down next to this table of people. And when I set it down, I hear a voice from this table say, "Hey, stranger." And I look over, and it's this girl that I dated like 4 years ago that I legit didn't even know lived here anymore. And there's this mind-blowing moment of, whoa, this is crazy. And I look next to her, and next to her is like my Tuesday night yoga teacher. I was like, double whoa, what's good? Worlds colliding moment.
What a big city for that to happen at, too.
That's the thing. Every time I've told somebody that story, they're like, Austin is a small town. It's legit the 11th most populous city in the country, but it's a small town vibe in the strangest, coolest way. It's wild.
It sounds wild the way you explain it.
Yeah.
So did you pay your library fees?
Yeah, did you?
I actually have a good bit. I probably owe like $5-10 in library fees right now. I got some late books.
Well, that happens. So what's the next? What's your next big adventure and plan? You got a book written in Clubby, and and that's you've been all over the podcast and radio world for sure. Newspapers and articles and people praising you and loving the book, and some couple people hating on it. We don't talk about those guys.
Haters.
What's next, man? What are you gonna do next?
A couple of things I've been working on. One is I'm working on my first novel right now. It's called Tormenta. and I'm
It's called
doing the
what?
edit. Tormenta, which is Spanish for thunderstorm, and it's about my experience being quarantined with a woman that I barely knew in New Mexico 2 years ago, and but it's fiction, so there's like some fantastical elements to it. That's the novel that I'm working on right now. But on top of it, I am on a quest to become the best storyteller in Web3 in the NFT space. So like, I haven't told you guys anything about this, but I've been writing like these backstories for these NFT projects. One of them is called Battle Bunnies, that just they sold their NFTs in March, and they wanted somebody to come in and write a novel based on the characters from the NFTs. And so like I wrote a fantasy novel for them in the last couple of weeks. It's pretty cool, actually.
Hey, for people that don't know what NFT stands for, what does that stand for?
It stands for non-fungible token. It's basically like a singular cryptocurrency that's represented by a picture or a piece of music or something. It's like a character that exists on a digital ledger.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for that.
Sure. So like that's been a lot of what I've been getting into, and I'm like trying to find more full-time work doing that crypto game writing stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. When will it like be published? Like when can we? Is it a while off, or I mean, how close are you guys to?
I'm on edits. Let me look at the document. I'm on the final round of edits, and I'm on page 72 of 102 right now. My goal is to finish it before the weekend.
Nice.
It'll take us a couple weeks to do like proofreading and stuff, but it's within. We have another launch in July, and our goal is to have it published before then. So like very soon.
Well, that's pretty cool, man. I wish you the best luck. I'm sure if it's something I can buy, I'm sure I'll buy it again. You got to stop making so much stuff, because I like it. Look, my whole house will be decorated with Greg Larson stuff. Stuff.
But is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing, but I'm running out of stuff. You know, when you got a 3-year-old and 4-year-old running around, she starts to take over. You know, put pictures of her up and stuff.
That's good.
Here's a question.
Yeah,
you're going out on a long hike. You're going to be out for a week. What are the 3 things that you can only bring 3 things? What are the 3 things you're going to bring, and why?
Well, we know it's not water.
No, yeah, you better not even say water. You're just going to wing that shit. Everybody knows it.
So we're like
things. Okay, you're going out on a hike. You're going to go in the Appalachian Trail. You're completely by yourself again, because that seems to be a thing. That's a theme that you're comfortable with. So you're going to go out and you start walking, and you realize, hey, wait a minute, I can only have 3 things. So let me go back to my truck and grab those 3 things. Before you start walking back by yourself for weeks at a time, what are those 3 things, and why would you pick those 3 things?
And I take it that we're not choosing like food, water. That pretty much we're not doing those types of things, right?
If you want food, that's one thing. You want water, that's one thing. That's perfectly fine.
But wouldn't that already take two of the 3 things away for everybody?
Not necessarily. I mean,
You could say consumables.
Well, no, I mean.
Well, because then I'm only left with one thing, and everybody's you give people okay, you can only bring 3 things on a week-long hike. Who's not going to say food and water? I know that I've like fucked that up in the past.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I guess when I say food, like you could bring in a piece of food, but I was thinking, yeah, let's just.
It's got to be separate from my 3 things, right? Because then otherwise the choice is already taken for me.
Yeah, let's just get food and water out of there.
Okay. Let's say you already have that.
Hey, we've already
in the pack.
We've already agreed that you're not going to bring water anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay. So what 3 things am I going to bring? What time of year? It's the Appalachian Trail. What state am I in, and what time of year is it?
Oh, North Carolina, Virginia. Fall.
Okay. What do I have on my body that it doesn't count? Like, I don't want to say underwear or socks.
You have the proper clothing.
Okay, gotcha.
So for the temperature for fall, you have the proper clothing.
Okay.
And boots and everything, like boots, clothing, kind of material. You're good.
Cool. What am I going to bring? I'm going to bring a sleeping bag.
Hmm.
I'm going to bring a tent, and I'm going to bring a small hatchet. Can I do off trail? I'm off the trail, right? Like I'm doing backcountry camping.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Sleeping bag, tent, hatchet.
I like it. That's good stuff. I would.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't be too far off for me. I don't know about the tent. I might get rid of the tent, but I might would go with some flint.
That's a good choice. Shit, dude. Damn. That's a good choice. I'd be in the fall time. I'd be fine with just a sleeping bag. Fuck, dude. But I already locked my answers in, so I'm screwed.
And Greg dies in this scenario.
Dude, that's my
hasn't
problem.
died yet. He hasn't died. He had no
I said that's the one that got him.
No water in Australia, and he hasn't died.
Yeah. But anyway, that's pretty funny. Well, that's good.
Can I tell you guys about my two-stepping experience?
Yes, please do. We want to hear about the two-step experience from Greg
Aaron,
Larson.
You sounded very apprehensive.
No, I was. I'm just disappointed we didn't do any two-stepping experiences when we were in Texas.
I was a little disappointed about it too, but
we did not find any line dancing. That was one thing.
We didn't search for it either.
Yeah,
but what I've discovered in my two-stepping lessons is that in Austin, they're like at the country bars, there's strict no line dancing. And what the reason is that because the bands themselves, they fucking hate playing line dancing music. And so it's like out of respect for the bands, you're not allowed to do line dancing. It's more like two-stepping, polka, waltz kind of stuff, which I thought was really cool. So like I don't know, maybe 2 months ago, I went to this country concert out in the sticks that my friend brought me to. And everybody was two-stepping. And when I go dancing, it's just chaos. I don't think about rules or anything like that. I just want to just go friggin' nuts. But everybody was doing this two-step kind of stuff, which is its own set of rules, but obviously you can like improvise within it and like have your own style within it. And first of all, I saw all these dudes just looking so smooth and so cool doing these spins and these twirls with these women. And second of all, the women there, like the women in Austin are gorgeous and some of the most amazing, beautiful women I've ever seen in my entire life. But the concentration of beautiful women in there was even a higher concentration that I'd seen at any venue. It was insane how many gorgeous women there were that were desperate because there weren't that many like male leads to actually dance with them. And at one point in the night, one of these beautiful women, I'm sitting at the bar, like uncomfortably sipping on a drink. And one of them walks up to me and says, "Would you like to dance?" And for the first time
Greg.
in
my, you want two-step?
You want two-step?
And I say,
Greg starts walking out the old school like gangster two-step.
He's like blushing.
Like 3-6 Mafia two-step.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is that you guys know me, like if I'm at the club, if I'm like in the dirty South or something, I'll just like go crazy on the dance floor. But for the first time in my life, I rejected a woman asking me to dance.
Whoa.
It was a place.
Yeah. That's good,
it was
man.
the place where there's like rules and I was too nervous to do it. And this hit me, Jeff.
Why didn't you like, I don't know how to dance. Why don't you show me? Why didn't you do it like that?
I didn't have the bravery in that moment. Like I did not have access to that courage.
Mm.
But what it did give me, it like gave me my origin story for this because I ruminated on that for months. I was like, dude, I want to learn how to two-step, but I didn't want to like go by myself. I was too nervous. Lo and behold, like one of my buddies who I do yoga with, he said that he wanted to learn how to do two-stepping too. So the two of us, we found this country bar in Austin that does two-stepping lessons. And we went a couple of weeks ago. Friday night, and we nervously kind of walk in and dark, dingy country bar. There's a pool table and there's a kind of a disappointing amount of dudes in there and not a lot of women. And we get started and it's like, what did it smell like? It smelled like a little bit like stale beer, like any other
like a dingy bar.
Yeah, and it is dark but it's like
now everybody gets the atmosphere. So here we go.
Yeah. And so a lot of dudes, and then all of a sudden we're thinking, okay, what are we gonna have to do? Is like pair up with dudes. All of a sudden this like bachelorette party shows up.
Oh,
and I'm like, okay, here we go. Because Austin is like, other than Nashville, the top bachelorette capital in the world, and bachelorette parties can be pretty annoying. So I was happy to have the ratio much better, but I thought, okay, here we go. They're all from Wisconsin, right? I'm from Minnesota. Now, Aaron, what's in Wisconsin that you love?
Oh my gosh, Green Bay Packers and the cheese.
Lo and behold, so these cutie Wisconsin girls, very like solid,
Pale
upper Midwest girls.
skin,
Yes,
blonde.
yes,
Blue eyes.
yes.
Oh,
All of the stereotypes, like just
Midwest.
total Midwest. They're not.
Aaron would be in heaven.
We don't talk about it. Yeah.
So I pair up with this cutie and we start dancing, and she asks me what I do. I tell her, ask her what she does. And she says that she's a trainer. I say, oh, what are you a trainer for? She says the Green Bay Packers.
God, and at one point did you? Okay, I'm probably gonna have a complaint with this story. I can already tell you the fact I don't know about it. So go ahead.
She was so hammered by the time we got to the twirls.
Sounds like you're building a foundation for excuses. I hear you. Okay.
Hey, ease off. Let him tell the story. He's our guest.
I hear you, but we about to have a rebuttal. I got a rebuttal section here.
We'll give him time to tell the story, then you can rebuttal. All right, proceed.
Yes. Dancing with this cutie. She leaves. She's like, I gotta sit down. I'm like way too drunk for this. I'll say, all right. See her on the way out. I don't know why, but her parents were with her. Why her parents were in Austin with her. I have no idea.
Don't know.
But she's sitting at a table. I go over and I say, hey, thanks for the dance. I hope you're feeling better. And she's like, I say, well, you're beautiful. And I kiss her on the hand and I say, you guys have a great, safe night, and mosey out. And I come back the next week. That girl's no idea where she is. Gone. Come back the next week, same situation, lots of dudes there. And I'm like, what the fuck? A bachelorette party from Michigan shows up. And like, I don't know what's gonna, I'm not going back this week because I have a party, but the week after, I expect I'm gonna go back and there's gonna be a bachelorette party from North Dakota or Minnesota.
All right, here's the thing. Let's be real. You had an opportunity. I know it's personal because you're a Vikings fan, and I get it. There's just a line.
I don't even care about the Vikings anymore.
Oh shit!
Whoa!
I'm sorry. Damn.
I haven't watched the Vikings since they lost that NFC Championship to the Eagles.
Panthers have been doing. I mean, the Packers have been doing well. And so anyway, I just feel like there's a moment in time there. You have to be like, listen, do you know that my best friend really likes the Packers? He bought stock in it, and he owns like a quarter of a, I don't know, grout in this bathroom stall. And
yeah,
you kind of hooked me up there. I feel like you might have forgotten me in that moment because you were being selfish and you wanted a relationship. That's how I feel. But and it didn't even work out, Greg. That's the thing, because she never came back. Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy that this girl that lives in Wisconsin didn't come back the next week.
It's weird that she even went there and had to interact with you. Anywho,
it is unusual.
So yeah, so the origin story about you two-step and all that. Where did this expand to? Did it just stop there, or where are we going?
That literally was like last week, and so.
Oh yeah. So this is a progressive story. Exactly.
So what's going to happen is that this Friday, no two-step lessons. And then next Friday, we're going to go back to a lesson. And then the Friday after that, it's time to go out into the real world. And we're going to go to Todd. Yep. After our third lesson, it'll be a time for Todd and myself to go out into the real world. And we're going to go to a two-step bar and just like put ourselves to work.
Yeah, there's a really good two-step bar in Charlotte you never went with me with. Just saying. I just feel like,
how did this turn into so many guilt trips all in one little anecdote?
I just feel like
I'm trying to reel you guys back in. It's okay.
You're like changing so much. I feel like a little bit in a way, like you're even closer to me than you ever were.
I think that's probably true. I'm thinking that like
it's weird. I think one of the things that were so unique about relationships, I think we were opposites, right?
Yeah.
Like you were more studious, more organized. It was chaotic and loud. You know, I mean, not that you weren't. You're kind of loud. You know, but you're very social. You can be very social. So can I. But a lot of personality traits we have very opposite. But there is maybe it's not even personality. It's just overall life interest, hobbies, and different things like that. My Zoom's kicking me out again. But it's kind of interesting that just changed. Like I used to do that, and it's like, oh yeah, welcome Greg welcome to the party. I'm glad you finally showed up. Like 13 years later.
Yeah, there you go. I have no response. I think that's everything. Is what you just said is accurate.
Yeah, it is interesting. I would have. Well, listen. If I don't see a video of you actually doing a line dance, it didn't happen. I want to see it. Like I want to see your skills. Like when I'd go to Charlotte and try to learn it too, the little dance and I used to have a blast doing it.
I'm sure there's one around here we can get into.
Yeah, I don't know where one around here is.
We just Google it. We never really looked into it, but we could.
I know there's one.
We can do a competition against Greg. We can do the good old South versus the Texans.
Mm-hmm. Who's
him and his Toto? Was it Toto?
Toto. Yeah, dude, it's me and Toto. We're not in Kansas anymore, dude. That's what really bugs me about. I love a lot of things about Texas, but when people call it the South, I'm like, hold on, this is a different thing. Being south of the Mason-Dixon line and being an old Confederate state is a whole different culture. There's a lot of similarities, but it's a whole different culture than being in Texas or even Florida.
It's funny you say that because I posted a thing on our Facebook page. I was like similar to that, and I thought about that. I was just writing that about getting contact with you, and I said something about Southern, and I was like, yeah, it's not really Southern, but it is what it is, and we'll just go with it. But it is different, and I think sometimes people don't necessarily. I mean, I remember when you came down to college, like you understanding the Southern culture, like just everything that was happening within it. I remember you questioning a lot of stuff and having a conversation about that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I ended up changing. I said, getting ready for the reunion, but I had something like Southern something. I'm like, well, that's not really Southern. That's a completely different world out there. Yeah. And there's some similarities, but there's a different cultural influence there. It's just different. It's different. There's a lot of similarities, but it is different. And I think you put it. I don't know how to describe it, but it is. Hell, they got good food.
They're Texans.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean,
what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah. So you and your friend will compete against Aaron and I, and we'll table the 2-step for a later date.
I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
All right. There you go.
So we gotta learn the line dance. We gotta learn the line dance and have to record it and send it to each other.
Yeah. And we'll just put it 6 months?
6 months, dude.
We gotta find the place.
You already have
y'all are experts now. Come on now.
You gotta give us some time. I don't know if it's 2-step. I'll probably be doing a damn river dance out there or something.
You got boots? You wearing boots these days or what?
No.
Yeah, what are you wearing?
Have you got a cowboy hat yet?
No. Here's the thing: is that well, as I continue going, I thought about this. I was like, as I continue going, there's going to be a point where not having, we're having boots and a cowboy hat is just going to be necessary, and I haven't reached that point yet, but I know that I will, and I'll wait for it to happen.
Nice, I like it. Hey, so I think we nailed this in the hatchet there. But can we do your backyard hiking real quick, since we kind of talked about the South and everybody loves backyards in the South?
Hell yeah, dude. What you want to know?
Like, describe what you mean by your backyard hiking real quick.
Backyard hiking. Oh, in Austin. Okay, I was just like looking at so I live on a green belt, like a hiking trail. And so I can just like walk out my back door and just go into the woods with my dog, and there's nobody. I almost stepped on a snake today. That was pretty intense. And we just go back there and just hike we could hike for 14 miles if we wanted to. It's this beautiful, it feels like you're off into the woods. And if I went in the opposite direction, I'm within walking distance of downtown Austin. It's kind of an incredible place to be. Yeah, I go out there probably once every other day.
That's pretty.
Sounds wonderful. Sounds like a good spot you got there in Austin.
That is beautiful. I enjoyed it when we were there.
I sure did too.
Next trip's Montana though. That's on the record now. So that is it. Greg, you got anything else to leave us with?
No, I just appreciate the fact that
quote.
this podcast happened in 3 acts, which is incredible. I mean, some Shakespearean plays have 3 acts, and this is could be on par with that. I don't know, but 2 intermissions for 1 podcast is pretty exceptional.
Yeah, well, we appreciate your patience. That's one thing about us is we just go with the flow.
That's one thing about you guys is you really test people's patience.
Yeah, we do. And you, my friend,
that's why we start off with beer.
Yeah, or in your case, milk. But I will say, Greg, thank you for spinning this with us. Just a little, and just in case you don't really know, a part of this is. Yeah, I'm just ignoring what I do. But a lot of this is just for me and Jeff, and for people to come back and look at us one day. It's a diary, so we do this more. So we try to bring all the people that are relevant to us and stories and relive those things. And what I obviously I have a kid, right? And one day that we back these things up like crazy. They're on hard drives, so that anything ever happens, that one day my child will be able to look back and see what we did or what stories we went through and some of the trials and tribulations, good things and bad things and sad things and funny things. And obviously you're very much a part of that, Greg, and I appreciate you taking the time to do that. It's more than just a podcast. This is kind of been a diary for us. So some of your stories will live on forever. We have so many more, and we'd love for you to have you back. So please come back to the show, especially after we show you how good we can dance. But probably gonna beat you there. But anyway,
there you go. Thanks for joining us, Greg.
Thanks for having me. You guys went easy on me. You guys didn't attack me too much, and I felt like I was a welcome member of the party.
We love you, buddy. All right.
As always, you can find us on your favorite social media account at The Tailblazers on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can also find us on YouTube. Watch them videos. You can also find us on our website, www.thetailblazers.net. And you can also email us at hatemail@thetailblazers.net. Check us out. Send us something.
Damn right. Is that you doing a hint in there, Greg?
Yep.
I love it.